All right. Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. It is good to be here. Got the headphones on, settled up, ready to go. Welcome in. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley, and I am your host, Matt Watson. It's good to see you. It is so good to see you. I'm glad you're here. You know our show. Our show, Eye on the Valley, is brought to you by SCVi and I Lead Schools. We are a network of charter schools. We've got campuses all across the northern Los Angeles County area here. We've got our founding campus in Castaic. And I always say Castaic, and people say, oh, up there, it's right off of Newhall Ranch Road. It is right there within the shadows of those roller coasters at Magic Mountain that are back open and running. And we've got a campus in Agua Dulce, Lancaster. We've also got a fully accredited online school. That's right, kindergarten through 12th grade online, which is different than homeschool, which we also have. We've got a burgeoning homeschool program, I Lead Exploration. So for more information on any of our schools, you can visit us at ileadschools.org. So we've got our eye on education in Santa Clarita and across the nation. But like our show says, we also keep our eye on the valley, bringing you everything you need to know about what's what here in the Santa Clarita Valley. And we do it all while having a little bit of fun. You know me. I just absolutely, that's the rider, the only rider that I put in my contract. I tell the boss, I'll do anything you need me to do, but I refuse to do anything unless I can have a good laugh while I'm doing it. It tends to get me in trouble sometimes, but it's all good. We all need a little bit of trouble in our lives to mix it up. Well, happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday indeed. It is great to have you. It is great to be here. It's a great day to be alive in Santa Clarita. It is a good time to be here in SoCal. I mean, things are coming up roses all over the place. I mean, last week, if you were listening to this show last week, you knew how pumped up Patty and I were. We were so excited when the show opened, and you know, things just keep getting better. You know, last week we talked about college basketball and about how 5 of the teams in the Sweet 16 college basketball tournament were West Coast teams. Well, since then, we've played 2 more rounds, Patty. We've whittled it down to the Final 4. And lo and behold, for the first time in college basketball history, all 4 teams are from west of the Mississippi River. And 2 of those teams are from the West Coast, including
UCLA.
That's
UCLA, right. Fight.
That's right. Tomorrow, the hometown Bruins will be taking on the undefeated Gonzaga Bulldogs for a chance to play for the championship on Monday night. Man, I am so pumped up, and even though it's going to be in the 80s before I leave the studio here, I am wrapped up in my Bruins scarf, and I am pumped. I got my Bruins hat on, if you can see me on Facebook Live. That's right. We're on Facebook Live if you'd like to peer into us here in the studio. Now, last week we also talked about, we didn't just talk about college basketball, we talked about baseball and how it was about to start. Well, yesterday, all 30 teams were scheduled. We had a rain out in Boston, and there was one game that got COVIDed out, but the other 26 teams played, and we had fans back in the stands. Now, most stadiums had limited attendance yesterday, somewhere between 25 and 50% capacity, but fans were back in the stands for the baseball games yesterday. Now, a lot of owners were worried about how the 25 to 50% capacity limitations were going to affect revenues this year, except for the owner of the Minnesota Twins, who announced, shoot, if we can get this place 25% full, y'all are getting raises. So, yeah, I don't think they've had 25% in Minneapolis in the last 10 years. Anyways, last week we also talked about how schools, restaurants, and tasting rooms were reopening. We were just starting to figure out what the red tier was like, just getting comfortable being red after being purple for so long, and now it looks like we're heading into the orange tier on Monday. A little bit more on that later on in the show. But last week we also talked about the beautiful weather. Vincent, the Grow Bro, was in here talking about how it was the perfect weather for planting in your garden. And Robert Reyes came in and told us how beautiful it was going to be up in Agua Dulce at the Reyes Winery. Well, since the Grow Bro saw the size of my patio, and he suggested that I stick to growing my mustache out. And Robert Reyes, he told me that folks came up last weekend, and he said they had such fun at his tasting room right here in Agua Dulce that he had a hard time getting people to leave last weekend. Well, that was last weekend. I just checked my weather app before we went on the air, and It looks like something out of a Southern California tourism ad. I look at my friends around the country and it's just not fair. We've got mid 80s and sunny skies as far as the eyes can see. It's going to be that way for at least the next 8 to 10 days. It's just gorgeous. I know it's the first of the month, but if you're complaining about your rent or mortgage payment right now, just open a window, look around, send that payment without a complaint. We live in the best place in the world, y'all. We live in Awesome Town. Yeah, we use it tongue in cheek here from time to time, but we really do live in a great place. Perfect? Absolutely not, but we are working on it. As a matter of fact, in just a minute, we're going to be talking with someone who is dedicated to working on it, to making this place a better place to live for all of us. I'm talking about Kelvin Driscoll. Do you know Kelvin yet? Well, you're going to want to. Kelvin works with the L.A County Department of Public Social Services, and not only is he a mover and shaker in this town, but he's just a fantastic guy, extremely bright, easy to get along with, hardworking, dedicated to his family and his community, and he's a strikingly handsome man. But I digress. We'll be talking to Kelvin in just a minute, and later on in the show, we'll check in with Kris Nilsen from SCVi. Kris is the college counselor at SCVi, and, well, it's college acceptance season, so we'll be checking in with her, and I tell you what, we'll let Kris brag about the schools that her kids have gotten into, and then we'll pick her brain a little bit for some advice on what we as families should be doing each year of high school in order to gear up for college. So what should my kid be doing when he's a freshman? What should he be doing when he's a sophomore? And we'll ask her even about the earlier years, what they should be doing to get ready to make sure that they're ready to go on to college by the time they're seniors in high school. And then, it's Friday, so Big T will be here. So if you like trivia or just laughing nonstop for 5 to 10 minutes, you won't want to miss Big T's 5 minutes of fame. It's coming a little bit early today. He'll be on at the end of this hour. Yeah, I know it's only supposed to be 5 minutes, but oftentimes we take a little bit more than 5 minutes. So do me a favor, shh, don't tell Carl and Jerry, okay? So it's going to be a great show. Let's go ahead and get started. My first guest grew up instilled by his parents with the values of hard work and giving back to his community. And so following their good example, he dedicated his education and career to public service and improving the quality of life for his community. So aren't we lucky that he chose us as a community to live in? Kelvin studied at USC. The Trojans had their own excellent showing in the college basketball tournament, making it to the Elite Eight. He also studied at the American University and the University of Puerto Rico. He's worked as an adjunct professor at Long Beach Community College and at USC with the State Education Commission on behalf of Assembly Speaker Karen Bass, as well as with the L.A. County Supervisor Janice Hahn in order to support the well-being of children and families here in L.A. County. Currently, Kelvin works as the program director for the Los Angeles County Department of Public Social Services. That is the largest social services agency in the United States, serving over 10 million residents in 88 cities. Kelvin lives here in Santa Clarita with his wife, Giovanna, and I hope I did not mispronounce her name, his daughter, Ava, and their dog, check this, Patty, their dog's name, Abraham Lincoln. Kelvin Driscoll, welcome to Eye on the Valley. How are you, sir?
The Honorable. Good morning. How are you?
Doing great. Good morning. It's good to talk to you.
The Honorable Matt Watson. Good to talk to you, my friend. Patty, good to talk to you again, too.
Of course, sir.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you. You are such a great guy. You named your dog Abraham Lincoln. Tell us about that.
I did. I have to tell you what I want to do first. I want to get another dog, and my plan is to name, it has to be a female because Lincoln is so aggressive. But then we'll name the female, I personally like Jacqueline Onassis, and then we can call her Joe. But my wife's not up for it yet. So, Matt, it just started as this weird joke. My wife and I are both, I don't know if you want to call us presidential geeks, but we were like, wouldn't it be funny to just get a dog and name him after one of the presidents? And so when people come to your house, they're like, oh, how cute. Like, what's your dog's name? And then we hit them with, like, the presidential name. They'd be like, you weirdos. Like, what are you doing? So we
taking Millard Fillmore for a walk.
Exactly. See, that's great. That's another one I'm gonna have to throw into the mix there.
All right.
We actually call him Lynx. We don't even really say his whole name. So even when I hear people say his full name, it kind of cracks me up too.
Yeah, go full government
It's
on
just
your dog
funny.
there. All right.
But thanks for having me. I appreciate being here.
Oh, it is my pleasure. Like I said in your intro, you do so many amazing things for people in our city and in our county, and so we wanted to touch bases with you. You know, you and I have known each other for a couple of years now. We were talking about it before we went on the
Yeah.
air. You know, I know quite a bit about you, but what I don't know is how in the world we haven't had you on the show yet. So for our
Well, it's, the moment is now, and so I'm pleased to be here. And you got a good lineup today coming up, so I have to make sure I tune in even after I have to sign off.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show. Yeah, definitely tune in. Those of you that are at home, pour yourself a second cup of coffee. We're here for a couple of hours, and yeah, we've got an exciting show, lots of information, and a lot of fun coming up. So, Kelvin, for our listeners who don't know as much about you, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself? How long have you lived here in Santa Clarita? Why did you and your family choose to settle here? Because I know originally you're from a little bit further south in the Southern California area.
Yeah, definitely. So full disclosure, I had probably driven through Santa Clarita, but had never really considered it as a city to live in. I mean, so my wife's name is Javane, which don't beat yourself up because it took me a bunch of times to learn it when I first met her. Her dad's Persian and her mom's Mexican, so her name is from the Persian side of her family. But when we got married, much like any new married couple, we knew we wanted to purchase a home. We were interested in buying a home. And Javane actually grew up in the Central Coast, so Santa Maria area. As you mentioned, I grew up in Lakewood, so a little bit further south. And we really, honestly, Matt, it's not even that much science to it. We just didn't want to make either parent mad by the time we started having kids. And so we were just trying to find some place to settle in the middle of both of, our hometowns, if you will.
Yeah.
And, kind of started looking, literally pulled out a map and saw Santa Clarita and, knew we could afford a home here and still have a pretty good, quality of life when it came to paying a mortgage.
Yep.
And the cherry on top was the schools, of course. We have great schools here in our city. And I'm a big outdoors person. And I think just our 42 miles of trails and now having taken up cycling, it was just the best of all worlds. And that was in 2016. I can't even believe it. And we've been here and have now purchased our second home in Santa Clarita. And we love this city. Our daughter is thriving. And just we're very pleased with living here and the work we've been able to do and to contribute in making our city awesome town, as you say.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys you and your wife have been hard at work getting involved in the city. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I mentioned your current role with L.A. County. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do for the citizens of our county?
I will, but I have to say I've been promoted since that was all written.
Oh, my goodness. My bio is not up to date. Well, congratulations.
Okay. It's not your fault. I haven't updated it. So, yeah.
And it's not updated on the city's website either.
It's okay. Previously, I was with the Department of Public Social Services, which completely has my heart. And for any of those who kind of watch city governance, you'll know that Supervisor Holly Mitchell was just elected to the board of Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, making us a historic board of an all-female board here in L.A. County. I think the first, probably in the nation. And Matt, I was extremely honored and fortunate that Supervisor Mitchell asked me to come back and reprise my role. And so now I am Senior Deputy to Supervisor Mitchell, covering child welfare policy and human services policy for the supervisor.
Okay, so covering child welfare policy and human service policy.
What does that mean?
What is it that you do?
Yeah, so this, I think, is one of the best portfolios. So when you think of children in L.A. County, I mean, I think what comes to mind most immediately is DCFS, child welfare, which is certainly a huge part of my work in making sure that children in the county of Los Angeles are safe. But this also includes our still public social services department, so DPSS, and the myriad of programs that they cover, from individuals and families to making sure people have enough money to eat healthy and unsafe food, to making sure that they have the medical insurance that they need. And then I also oversee our legislative advocacy efforts for the supervisor's office. So whereas before with DPSS, I was a director over policy for those programs for single adults, this portfolio now for the supervisor comprises, I want to say, anywhere between 5 to 7 departments, and I think the number is somewhere around $8 to $10 billion in operations services. And so I get the extreme honor of talking to the supervisor about some of the most pressing issues. Of course, for our most vulnerable residents, the supervisor represents the 2nd district, and so I get to talk to her specifically about those residents. And, of course, she has to work across a group of 5. And so thinking about which of her colleagues there's alignment on to tackle some of these issues. I mean, we like to joke at the board office to say, if you can count to 3, then you can do it, because it takes 3 votes to make anything happen. And so I spend a lot of my time working with my colleagues to count to 3 so that the supervisor can make impact on her policy priorities.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I don't remember a time in my life living here in Santa Clarita where folks have been more dialed into what the supervisors have been doing, and it's an interesting dynamic. Count to 3. And
Matt, you're so right. To hop on that point, I kind of watched during this pandemic, and you see how local city governance has become more important. I think no one knows Barbara Ferrer better. Like, she had no idea that prior to 2020, as many people would know her name and know it now, or that they know their supervisors, or that they know their city council members. I think this pandemic has certainly brought local city governance to the forefront. And it makes me very happy that people know these individuals' names, because they are making decisions that impact our lives every day.
Oh, absolutely. And to that point, gosh, we've seen it. Whether it's health-related, education, our citizens have been getting so much more involved in local policy and practices, advocating, writing emails, a lot of them angry, but hey, who cares? Let us know how you feel. And it is fantastic to see people get involved, because, that's just going to continue forward.
I think you're absolutely right. I was talking to one of our local electeds, and I go, how many people are mad at you this week? And she goes, it's about 50-50. I'm like, that's really good. Like, that's actually really good. Like, you should be very proud of yourself. But you're right. I think this is what we all want. We want an informed citizenry, right? We want people to be involved. We want them to express their opinions. We want them to say what their preferences are, because it makes us stronger as a city.
Yeah, definitely it does. Now, I was hoping to ask you a little bit about something that I've noticed that I know has been near and dear to your heart, as you talk about, making sure that all of the citizens of L.A County have the services and care that they need. Something that I noticed, I brought it up with producer Sarah a couple of weeks ago. Don't really have data on homelessness.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we talk homelessness at all? For a little bit?
It would make my heart happy.
All right, cool.
It would excite my spirit, as Rumi says.
Okay, fantastic. Because, like I said, I don't have a ton of data. I do have. I looked up a little bit. It's more anecdotal data of a chubby guy driving around town. But it seems to me like homelessness has increased a little bit in the past few years here in L.A. County, and specifically here in Santa Clarita. Am I right? Do you have any data?
You are right.
Okay, so do you have any data on how many people in LA are currently experiencing homelessness?
Yeah, Max. So can I just first say thanks for providing the space and the opportunity to talk about this issue, because I think that's actually part of the solution, is getting more people engaged in talking about the issues, and then more specifically talking about what each of us can do to make sure that we help our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness.
Definitely.
You are right. I think that if anyone's driving around, they can certainly see the increase in the numbers. Just a little bit about the numbers. So here in L.A. County, we do an annual homelessness count. It is a point-in-time count, right? And so it means that on a certain day or night, volunteers all across the county of Los Angeles go out and administer a survey, if you will, a census of like homelessness neighbors or individuals who are experiencing homelessness. And then they count those numbers, and we use those numbers for funding formulas locally, at the state level, and at the federal level. So that's my first pitch for your listeners is that is a way to get involved. Sign up for the homelessness count. It's so important. It helps to drive the funding numbers, much like you've heard about the census. And it really helps us to get an accurate picture of those who are experiencing homelessness here in Santa Clarita and across Los Angeles County. And so to your question, that most recent count showed us that there was a 12% increase in homelessness in the county of Los Angeles, bringing us to just over 65,000 individuals who are likely to experience homelessness on any night in the county of Los Angeles.
Right.
So that's a county picture. I would say in Santa Clarita, the number is it is a lower number. I don't know that it's a correct number. But it's just under 170 individuals.
Okay.
Now, I will say my wife and I are huge supporters of Bridge to Home. She's actually sitting on their executive board right now.
That's a great
and I can tell you the discrepancy in the count just so you get a sense of how and why people should volunteer. Even though that number is about 170, we know that at Bridge to Home, all by themselves, they've served well over 1,000 people experiencing homelessness.
Wow.
And so how we count the number is really important. And I think that just goes to show and illustrate how important it is for our community members to get involved, to count that number, because when those who are making decisions about money, they go, oh, you only have 170 people, versus this city or this jurisdiction that has this. And so we got to get more funding to this city or this jurisdiction, where it's like, no. The service numbers paint a very different picture for us.
Okay. But it is important to know that, numbers are on the rise, but folks can, we hear the old adage, think globally, act locally. People can get involved.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk a little bit about that when we get back. We do have to take a quick commercial break. We're talking this morning with Kelvin Driscoll. When we get back, we're gonna see what's being done and what you can do about homelessness here in Santa Clarita and around L.A. County. Stick around. I'm Matt Watson, and this is SCVi and I Lead Schools Eye in the Valley. You're listening to your hometown station, KHTS.
The city is opening up, and so is Coyote Creek Locations, right here in Santa Clarita Valley, ranch-style open landscape for you to create your next perfect event. Weddings, graduation parties, bar and bat mitzvahs, baby showers, and birthdays. Any sort of get-together where you can spread your wings and breathe in fresh air, creating memories with friends and family while supporting healthy space and distancing. Spring is here, and summer is coming, so get ready for your next celebration at Coyote Creek. Book now at coyotecreeklocations.com. That's coyotecreeklocations.com.
Accidents happen, but rest assured Patterson's Collision Center is here to help. Patterson's is a family-owned and operated collision repair facility providing the Santa Clarita Valley with premium collision repairs. Patterson's prides itself on being the only California-certified green repair shop in all of Santa Clarita. They are insurance claim specialists and even offer payment plans for your deductible. For personalized, friendly service, visit pattersonscollisioncenter.com. or call 294-1011 and let Patterson's Collision Center help ease your worries today.
Loss of hearing can affect the quality of life. Santa Clarita Hearing Center can help. They specialize in both preventative hearing loss and corrective measures, including diagnostic tests, new technology hearing aids, cochlear implants, hearing protection, and tinnitus treatment. They can adjust your current hearing aids or fit you for new ones. Santa Clarita Hearing Center also offers sleep molds, swim molds, and musician monitors. Book an appointment today. Log on to SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com. Located on McBean Parkway next to the hospital. That's SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com.
Men Cryotherapy is open. As always, they continue to clean and sanitize all equipment. Social distancing will be enforced and hand sanitizer will be provided throughout the facility. Temperature checks will be done daily on each employee, and masks will be provided if forgotten. They have amazing welcome back specials, including the $99 performance package, which includes a cryo session, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, which boosts recovery of damaged cells, the aromatherapy oxygen bar, Nucom, and infrared sauna. There's also a beauty package with a cryofacial, infrared sauna, and more. And don't forget their extensive selection of health and wellness products, including CBD. Men Cryotherapy is open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. For more information, go to MEND, MEND, cryotherapy.com. MEND Cryotherapy on Newhall Ranch Road in the Gateway Shopping Center.
Experience Frontier Toyota's all-new hot and exciting Toyota lineup, serving the Santa Clarita Valley for over 30 years. Frontier Toyota, the Camry, Corolla, and Prius Kings. They're tops in Tacoma and Tundra trucks. Frontier Toyota, the new way of car buying. Shop from home at frontiertoyota.com or visit their showroom at Valencia and Creekside. Discover a whole new car buying experience with your friends at Frontier Toyota.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley. We are joined this morning by Kelvin Driscoll. Kelvin works with the L.A County Board of Supervisors and services, making sure that kids and families have all the different services and things they need to make sure that they are getting the best out of life here in the Southland. We were talking before the break, Kelvin, about homelessness, people experiencing homelessness. Mm-hmm. You said our numbers have been up. And I mentioned to you, as producer Sarah and I were talking about it, I actually did a little bit of research before the show, and I looked at the distribution of homelessness across the country. And it was no surprise to me that New York and L.A. topped the list, right? We're the two biggest cities in America. But there were a couple of surprises, and I want to just hit you with a couple of things, but there's the one at the end that really just blew my mind. So Chicago, the third largest city in America, wasn't even top 10 when it came to homelessness. But it gets crazy cold there, so I can understand how folks would work hard to get away if they don't have shelter. But the city with the third most people experiencing homelessness is barely in the top 10 or top 20 largest cities, Seattle. So, I mean, I don't know if it's those grunge bands from the 90s that are now out of work. But what really struck me, as I looked at the data a second time, I noticed that while the homeless population of Los Angeles is pretty much commensurate with the size of the city that we live in, the number of people experiencing unsheltered homelessness is off the charts. I mean, it shocked me. It broke my heart because, I mean, we have more unsheltered people. Listen to this, Kelvin. More unsheltered people in L.A. than New York, Seattle, San Diego, San Jose, San Francisco, Las Vegas, D.C., Houston, Denver, Chicago, Boston, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Dallas, and Detroit combined. Yeah. So I have a pretty good idea what comes to my mind, but can you share a little bit about what it means to be unsheltered versus homeless?
Yeah, Matt, another, I think, really astute kind of observation for you, because when we look at service providers and policymakers, when we look at those numbers, that's the first question that we ask, right, is what's our unsheltered number and what's our sheltered number? Unsheltered is exactly what it sounds like. It's anyone that is in a place not meant for sleeping. So on the streets, on your park benches, under bridges, things like that. When you kind of think Skid Row, if any of your listeners are familiar with that, that's your unsheltered population right there. And it is an astounding number. I think some of the most heartbreaking numbers that you'll see is our family unsheltered number, because that means you have kids who are on the streets. And that's the number that we typically try and focus in on first when we're talking about our unsheltered population. And of course, our seniors, we see them as our most vulnerable populations of unsheltered neighbors experiencing homelessness. Yeah,
it just tears at your heart. So why are disproportionately high? Why are numbers so high here in LA? Is it just a product of the amazing weather that we have, or are there other factors contributing to that?
Yeah, so I mean, believe it or not, Matt, yes, that plays a big part in the number, right? It's certainly less dangerous, if I can use that word, to be unsheltered in Los Angeles right now, where, our temperatures allow for that, versus a city like New York and Chicago, where, their winters are deadly if you're outside.
Sure.
Of course, they all have, I know New York does, I can't remember if Chicago does, but what they call kind of a right to housing. And so that helps to impact their unsheltered numbers, because the city, I believe, of New York has a law that says anyone has a right to housing. Okay. And so they have to make sure that they are housed, which impacts their unsheltered number. And so I think weather is a part of that equation. I think the draw to La La Land, as I call it, is a part of that number as well, too.
Yeah.
One of the myths, that we hear oftentimes in our unsheltered numbers are about individuals coming to Los Angeles, for example, and becoming homeless here, where the numbers really just don't bear out that story too much, Matt. I think it's something like 80% of Angelenos became homeless here in the city of Los Angeles.
Okay.
So I know that there's often a story about people coming here and becoming homeless. And it's not to say that the number is zero, but I think it's fair to say that overwhelmingly, our neighbors are experiencing homeless here. They were living here. They experienced homeless here in their jurisdiction in L.A. County and in Los Angeles.
So it's not the folks getting off the bus from Omaha, Nebraska,
No.
hoping to make it big and staying on the streets. This is our neighbors that are being affected by it. So
yeah.
It is such a dilemma. It's such a difficult problem to deal with as a society. But
absolutely.
But you've dedicated your life to taking care of the folks in your community. Kelvin, what's being done, and what can we do about the homeless problem we're experiencing?
Awesome question. So I always say, and again, my wife and I are huge supporters of Bridge to Home, and they're actually in the middle of an amazing capital campaign to build the city's first homelessness shelter. It will, once built, house 60 individuals and about 32 families in 8 kind of apartment-style homes.
Okay.
So certainly it'll fit into the community, and I think they're doing a great job in making sure that unsheltered number that you just talked about is addressed here at home. And so I want to encourage your listeners to, A, contribute, because it does take resources to build these facilities to help to make sure that we address that unsheltered number. But also, you can do things of getting involved with your local nonprofit organizations who are addressing homelessness here in the city. So Bridge to Home, for example, is one. I sit on the board of Finally Family Homes here in Santa Clarita, and they do great work with foster youth who are experiencing homelessness. So want to encourage individuals to get involved with Finally Family Homes as well, too. And like I said, that homelessness count is a huge piece of how we make sure that number is correct. But I also think, and you know this well, Matt, there's a huge advocacy piece, right? Getting involved, watching what your local officials are doing and how they're taking and tackling the issue of homelessness in your city is really important. And not that you have to watch every meeting or be tuned in to every conversation, but certainly homelessness is the human, rights, one of the human rights issues of our time. And as you mentioned at the top of the show, you can see the increase. And I think it will take all of us as a community to really figure out what our role is and how we get involved to help.
Yeah, and you obviously you do this for a living. You do it out of a service to your community, but it's also been your career. But Kelvin, you're also remarkably involved in trying to shape policy here in our community as well. Last year, you ran for city council. We had 2 seats open, and man, you finished third by like a hair and a half. I think that's a statistical term, a hair and a half. But how did you feel about
statistical term?
Yeah. So how did you feel about the campaign that you ran, and then are you planning on another run here in 2022?
Yeah, I really appreciate that question. Certainly campaigning in a pandemic is interesting, as I'm sure you've experienced. I feel incredibly proud of the campaign, Matt. I feel like as a community we were able to engage in lots of conversations. And what I saw was kind of a consequential summer, not just here in Santa Clarita, where we certainly had some of the issues that we saw across the country sprout up. Yeah. But nationally, I think it was a good conversation, and certainly locally it was a good conversation. And I feel like the campaign that we stood up was authentic to who I was as an individual. And so I look at that campaign, and I'm incredibly proud of the work and the conversations that we were able to elevate. And really just want to thank everyone for their support and their encouragement. Your question about what's next is something that I think about all the time, Matt. And I will tell you, certainly I want to make sure that JonBenet and I are giving back to our city. But campaigns are something that you have to think about as a family. And our city council campaign came on the heels of our state assembly campaign. And so what we've been trying to do is recover from the pandemic, recover from campaigning, readjust with the boards that we're sitting on to make sure that we have the family time that we need, but are still making time to be contributors to our community. And so that's a really long way of saying we want to give back. That could certainly mean running for office again. But I think family comes first, and it always has to be a conversation of where is our family now? Where is our work now? And does it make sense to launch into another campaign? And then the work of governing, as you know all too well, there is work involved in governing. Yeah. And so what does that time commitment look like? And we put all of that into a blender. I said last time, over pizza and salad, we brought all of the family together to have that conversation. And so we'll do it again to see if it makes sense come 2022.
Well, I love the example that you set for the rest of our neighbors of just getting involved in any way you can to make sure that you're making a strong impact for our community, and we really appreciate it. Now, Kelvin, I know how busy you stay. I don't know if you've ever met my brother Tony. He's kind of like me, only more. Well, he's coming on next to play a little bit of trivia. Do you have a little more time? Can you hang out and play with us for a little bit? All right, cool.
Of course.
Cool.
Of course.
Kelvin Driscoll, a family man, a civic and community leader. He's going to stick around. Make sure you stick around. Big T's coming in. We're about to have some fun. This is SCVi and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley. You're listening to your hometown station, KHTS.
Omelets or pancakes? You used to have to flip a coin. But not anymore, because for a limited time, all 10 of our hearty omelets now come with unlimited pancakes. Which means this coin doesn't have to choose anymore.
What? I don't have to choose anymore? Ah! Later, choosers! I'm free!
Choose not to choose. Over 10 omelets now come with unlimited pancakes.
Oh!
At IHOP.
The shows must go on. The Main in Santa Clarita is your destination for free online music, theater, art, and entertainment opportunities. Tune into fun variety nights, join a talent show, learn from filmmaking experts, attend a modern play, and more from the comfort of your home. For more information and to view upcoming events, go to facebook.com/themainnewhall or @themain.org. Enjoy the shows. Welcome to Dunkin', where safety is their #1 priority. The staff at Dunkin' has daily temperature checks and goes through a series of current health questions prior to each shift. They have all the necessary PPE, including masks, shields, and gloves. In addition, every store is sanitized several times an hour for your protection. Use the Dunkin' app for specials and to order ahead. Carry-out and curbside pickup is available, or have your order delivered by Grubhub, Postmates, Uber Eats, or DoorDash. Dunkin', all-day sandwiches, donuts, bagels, muffins, and of course, hot and cold beverages. Visit Dunkin' on Bouquet, next to Lowe's, or the Dunkin' in Canyon Country on Sierra Highway. The Santa Clarita Valley runs on Dunkin'.
Hey, Gary, how are things?
Things are great, but I crushed my mortgage payment with owning without even leaving my couch. I got a refi at a great low rate, and owning did it all in less than 3 weeks. It was easy, no muss, no fuss.
Be like Gary. Call Owning at 833-2-OWNING and crush your mortgage payment with today's 30-year fixed refi. At 2.5% rate, 2.731% APR. That's right, 30-year fixed. at 2.5% rate, 2.731% APR.
Owning Corporation, licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS 1797976. Guaranteed Rate Inc., NMLS 2611. Call 833-852-6464 for more information. Subject to credit approval.
You can crush it too with a 30-year fixed, 2.5% rate, 2.731 APR.
Call 833-2-OWNING or log on to owning.com. That's 833-2-OWNING or log on to owning.com.
My dad is the best plumber ever. Plumbing by Kurt.
It's been quite a few years since I recorded that commercial with my father, and although my voice has changed, one thing hasn't. My dad is still the best plumber ever. Over the years, Plumbing by Kirk has taken care of Santa Clarita and all their plumbing issues, including clogged drains, running toilets, and so much more. Plumbing emergencies? Not a problem. He and his team are a pro at those too. Call now for estimates on new drain installations, old drain replacements, and water heaters. 263-6519 or log on to plumbingbykirk.com. My dad is the best plumber ever.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. And it is now time for Big T's, this time literal 5 minutes of fame. Big T is a longtime resident and leader in the Santa Clarita Valley. He is an executive and philanthropist. He is the quintessential family man and community member. And for Big T, the final four is a phrase he uses to refer to the last few family members who just won't leave his house after Easter brunch. He is Mom's favorite. Big T, welcome to the show.
Morning, Maddie.
It's good to have you, Big T. Tony, I know you were listening to Kelvin Driscoll. He decided to stick around and play with us a little bit today, okay?
That's awesome. I'm excited about that.
All right, so you want to explain the rules real quick to Kelvin?
Yeah, so Kelvin, we do a little bit of trivia, a little bit of kind of some fun facts or word association, if you will. Just like Jeopardy, instead of an actual buzzer, your name is your buzzer. So when you think you know the answer, shout out your name. Even if I'm not done with the question, you can shout your name out early to beat the other contestants. And then we'll give the answer. But there also may be some word association. I may say, I may say three different people that are all associated with one particular topic, and that would be the answer of that. So today, Matt, being Good Friday, being that baseball started yesterday, Big T's bringing two of his favorite things, and that's baseball and Jesus. So we're going to get a little bit of trivia. They're easy trivia questions, so hopefully you guys are following along. Are y'all ready?
Yeah, we're ready. Let's do it.
Now, Kelvin, Matty sounds like Patty, so you may hear Matt use the word Frogger as his buzzer, okay? Yeah. So don't get confused.
There's a backstory we can talk about off the air.
Exactly. Who was the first pitcher to throw a baseball 100 miles an hour?
Frogger. Don Drysdale.
Incorrect. He played for the Angels. He played for the Rangers. He played for the Astros early on.
Oh, man, come on.
Wow,
Patty,
I'm
nothing.
terrible at baseball.
That's all right.
I know I'm going to bomb this one.
Patty, I'm disappointed.
Okay, Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
Nolan Ryan. All right. What are the tools? What do the tools of ignorance refer to? Well, you guys are off to a great start. That's catcher's gear.
I was going to say, that's what, Tony?
The tools of...
It's catcher's gear. It's referred to the tools of ignorance.
Tools of ignorance. Okay. I was going with my own personal professional skills.
True or false? True or false? The word Easter.
True, Patty. Patty, true.
Patty?
Patty says true.
That is incorrect.
Frogger.
What's the question? When we call out true or false, they just jump in right away.
It's a little game we play.
Maddie, what's your answer?
Well, I'm going to go with false and apologize to Kelvin. Yeah, this happened a couple of weeks ago. Tony started going true false, and Patty just started screaming out his name. So oftentimes a point is awarded, and then we hear the question.
Oh, the word Easter appears in the Old Testament of the Bible, and that is false.
Oh, that is false. Yeah,
I was going to say that's false. Yeah, that's false. Yep. I was waiting for the Jesus question. Like, I'm here.
All right.
Then here we go. What apostle betrayed Jesus?
Patty. That was
Kelvin answered.
Oh.
Kelvin, did you call your name first or no?
No, don't give me this one, Tony.
No. Okay, Patty.
Pontius Pilate.
Pontius Pilate was not an apostle, Patty.
No?
I'm going Frogger.
The thing is that the apostle.
Frogger.
I think Kelvin was already into his answer. Go ahead.
It was Judas, but was Judas an apostle?
It was Judas. Yes,
yeah.
Judas was an apostle.
See, the thing that was tripping me up is I didn't know Judas was an apostle. He was an apostle, huh?
He was. And you know what?
Yes.
He actually hung on to the money for the other 12.
Yep.
Wow.
You know, coronavirus fun fact, Matt?
Yeah.
They say to love like Jesus, but wash your hands like Pontius Pilate.
Lord. Lord. Okay.
The second largest holiday for eating candy is Easter. What's the first?
Patty.
Halloween. Oh, Kelvin.
Halloween.
Halloween is correct. You guys
Yes.
get a point for that one.
All righty.
Who holds the Major League Baseball record for hitting safely in 56 straight games?
That's a good one.
Joe DiMaggio.
Yeah, I was going to go Gary.
Yep.
Yes.
We're going to move quick since we only got 5 minutes.
Yeah,
True or false?
Patty.
Rabbits, Patty.
True.
Kelvin, it'd be a good time to chime in right here.
True.
Kelvin.
It is not true, Patty. Kelvin, what's your answer?
False.
False is correct. Rabbits lay eggs. That is false. Kelvin.
Rabbits lay eggs.
Good pull, Kelvin.
Yes. What are the 4 teams in the Final Four?
Patty.
Patty.
UCLA, Baylor, Gonzaga, and Houston.
That is correct. What's the most popular Easter candy?
Frogger. Jelly beans.
Frogger. Incorrect.
Oh, I know. That's what
Patty.
Kelvin.
No, Kelvin was in. He's
Kelvin.
got his hand on his buzzer.
Okay.
It's those nasty candy corn things, I think.
Incorrect. Patty, you got one?
Chocolate bunnies or Cadbury eggs?
Peeps. They are actually peeps.
Yes, they are.
All right.
I think about those.
Yeah, some fun.
I hate peeps. That's why I don't think about
Now,
it.
some fun for your kids. If you like roasted marshmallows, take some Peeps, roast those over the fire with the sugar and the marshmallow. The sugar caramelizes just like creme brulee. I swear, it is delicious.
Fantastic.
Big T knows.
I think we got one more minute or one more question, Big T.
Ooh. What president threw out the first pitch?
Oh, well.
Kelvin.
It was 1910. I'll give you a hint, Kelvin.
Oh, okay.
1910.
No. Okay. I wasn't even around, Tony.
I know, but hey, I heard you say you're a presidential buff. That's why I see that.
I am.
Hey, Big T, we do have to go. We've got to wrap up. But Kelvin, thank you so much for joining us. Kelvin Driscoll, Big T, thanks for joining us. We will be right back.
Have you heard that you can attend college tuition-free for your first 2 years?
The Canyons Promise program at College of the Canyons can make that happen.
First-time, full-time students in fall 2021 are encouraged to sign up now for Canyons Promise.
Benefits include paid enrollment fees, access to program counselors, priority registration, and more.
Attend COC tuition-free.
Visit canyons.edu/promise now for information and important deadlines.
Canyons.edu/promise.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow, here to tell you about my Giza Dream bed sheets. I made sure that they would be everything you'd ever want in a sheet set. I started with the world's finest cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region where the Sahara Desert, the Nile River, and the Mediterranean Sea all meet. The long staple cotton makes my Giza Dream sheets ultra soft and durable. They come with extra wide pillowcases to fit over any pillow and extra deep pockets to fit over any mattress. Not only that, they come with my 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. And now you can get the best sheets ever for the best price ever. When you buy one of my Giza Dream bed sheet sets, you'll get another one absolutely free. I personally guarantee that they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code KHTS or call 800-973-3927 and use the promo code KHTS. That's 800-973-3927 or go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code KHTS.
Experience luxury senior living at Oakmont of Valencia, Oakmont's brand new community in Santa Clarita. At Oakmont of Valencia, residents will enjoy 5-star amenities, including state-of-the-art movie theaters, spacious custom-built apartment homes, and sweeping views of the valley, all in close proximity to shopping, restaurants, and medical centers. Enjoy resort-style living, professional concierge services, a luxurious salon and day spa, and world-class dining. At Oakmont of Valencia, you'll embrace retirement in style. Enjoy impeccable service and unending possibilities with Oakmont. For details, visit oakmontofvalencia.com.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com.
KHTS AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 9 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
A plea from the president. Lisa Brady, Fox News. He's urging people not to give back the hard-fought progress against COVID, with cases back on the rise. This as he hails the new employment report, over 900,000 jobs created in March.
My message to the American people is this. Help is here. Opportunity is coming.
But he says progress can be reversed and that his recovery plans, including the new infrastructure package, are needed. Answering some shouted questions moments ago, President Biden also dismissing Republican concerns about tax hikes to help pay for that. The CDC just announcing what amounts to more freedom for vaccinated people. New guidance that they can travel, but still take precautions, including wearing masks. Back to the table on Iran's nuclear program. The State Department announcing talks will resume, but the U.S. and Iran won't talk directly for now. Fox's Simon Owen has this live.
Lisa, the US and Iran say indirect talks will be held in Vienna, Austria next week on the future of the Iran nuclear deal. Nearly 3 years after President Trump pulled out of the agreement, the State Department says the talks, scheduled for Tuesday, are a healthy step forward. It says an immediate breakthrough is unlikely. American and Iranian officials are not expected to meet face to face. Lisa?
Thanks, Simon. President Biden has said rejoining the nuclear deal is a priority, but the U.S. and Iran don't agree on the conditions for that to happen, including the timing of any lifting of U.S. sanctions. The White House just confirming a phone call with the president of Ukraine, who says he and President Biden stand shoulder to shoulder for preservation of their democracies. The White House says President Biden reaffirmed unwavering support for Ukraine's sovereignty in the face of ongoing aggression from Russia in eastern Ukraine. There are reports the call lasted for nearly an hour. America is listening to Fox News.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-229-4150 if you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns. Help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-229-4150 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-229-4150 to see if you qualify. That's 800-229-4150.
The use of AstraZeneca's COVID vaccine is temporarily halted in the Netherlands for people under age 60. The Dutch government taking the step days after Germany's government did the same over concern about the potential risk for rare types of blood clots, even though Europe's medicine agency has said it's not necessary to restrict use of that vaccine. A Dutch group that monitors vaccine side effects says it's received 5 reports of blood clots, all in women ages 25 to 65. A Florida school system gets hacked, and the cyber attackers are holding students' personal information for ransom.
Broward County, Florida, home to Fort Lauderdale. This all came to light
last month that their school system has been hacked by a criminal gang, that gang known as Conti, operating out of Russia or Eastern Europe, where there's no extradition. They froze the servers, they stole personal information, and initially they demanded $40 million in Bitcoin. That demand has gone down to $10 million as the two sides have gone back and forth. The district at one point offering $500,000.
Fox's Steve Harrigan. The school board says they're working with a cybersecurity firm to fight back and haven't handed over any money. A man gets paid in pennies and then gets an assist from Coinstar.
These were not pennies from heaven.
This is my final paycheck, $915 in pennies.
Andreas Flatten from Fayetteville can stop cleaning the more than 90,000 pennies covered in oil and grease. He says his former boss dumped the coins last month in his driveway along with a very nasty note. Now Coinstar comes to the rescue. The Bellevue, Washington-based company heard the story and said a change was in order. They picked up the coins on Thursday, rounded up the amount to give him a $1,000 check. They also made donations to 2 animal shelters on Flatten's behalf. Flatten's former employer, A.O.K. Walker Auto Works in Peachtree City, said they paid him U.S. currency and did not want to be part of the story.
Fox's C.J. Papa and Lisa Brady. Fox News.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
U.S. employers added 916,000 new jobs last month, many more than predicted as construction, manufacturing, retail, and other hiring picked up. The unemployment rate declined to 6%. Economists hope it's the start of a prolonged stretch of hiring. Tesla delivered more cars than expected in its first quarter, nearly 185,000. The company says it's encouraged by sales of the Model Y in China and is stepping up production. Hertz could emerge from Chapter 11 bankruptcy with the help of 2 investment firms. The Wall Street Journal says Glenview Capital Management and Discovery Capital Management have formed a shareholder committee and hope to restructure Hertz. The stock market is closed today. Futures in the bond market traded in a short session. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola. Invested in you.
The border is in crisis. President Trump made the border a priority, but Biden is spending $86 million on hotel rooms for migrants. Now, Grant Stinchfield investigates Biden's executive orders and dangerous policies. Watch Stinchfield on Newsmax TV tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern as he reveals the dangers. Find Newsmax TV on all major cable systems or get it free on Roku, YouTube, Xumo, Pluto, and smart TVs. Plus, download the free Newsmax app on your phone. Help protect our border. Watch Newsmax TV's Stinchfield.
Thanks for listening to KHTS AM 1220, Canyon Country, California. K260CO 98.1 FM, Santa Clarita, California.
Santa Clarita Valley residents now have greater access to the excellent physicians and high-quality medical services for which Providence Holy Cross is known. Providence Holy Cross Health Center in Santa Clarita features state-of-the-art cancer and imaging technologies, as well as board-certified physicians in a variety of medical specialties. Quality and compassion from a healthcare provider you can depend on. For more information, call 1-888-HEALING or visit us at providence.org.
No contract pest control. Did you hear that? Yes, Unipest has no contract, low impact, affordable, and environmentally and family-friendly pest control options with orange oil or other family-friendly products. Whether it's ants, spiders, gophers, termites, or bed bugs, Unipest Termite and Pest Control has an effective, eco-friendly option for you. Call Unipest today for a free orange oil inspection at 661-BUG-7575 or visit unipest.com.
If you need help at home or at the office, call Made For You. Made For You is a locally owned, bonded, and licensed cleaning service with over 20 years of experience. All employees are vetted for your protection. No need to buy products or equipment. The Made For You staff comes complete with everything needed to make your home or office cleaner than ever. Hire Made For You one time, as needed, or an ongoing basis. No room is off limits. Laundry and ironing services are also available. Call Made For You for a free estimate. 255-2922. That's 255-2922.
Hey there, it's Tori with your hometown station weather. Gorgeous day today and warm with highs in the upper 80s, overnight lows in the 50s. For anything and everything Santa Clarita Valley related, go to hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
The following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Welcome back. You are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. And we are the show that's got your back. And, you know, producer Sarah is so amazing. She's got everybody's back. I know we left everybody hanging with a couple of things. First of all, looking at the final score, it was a quick game today, and we did terribly. And I have to tell you, we confused Kelvin Driscoll quite a bit with some of our true-false questions. But Patty, brother man.
What?
Well, you tied for a win.
Let's go. Well, what do you know? History is in the making right now, guys. All right.
Patty, you and Kelvin finished with 2 points. I finished with 1 point.
Wait. I tied with not you?
No, not me.
Mr. Matt Watson, he's been dethroned.
I have. I got stuffed. But producer Sarah wanted to make sure that we let everyone know that in, I think the year was 1910, the first president to throw out the first pitch on opening day was William Howard Taft. I know folks may have been scrambling for that. I know I always hate when we have a trivia question that gets left dangling. So William Howard Taft was your answer on that one. Producer Sarah, thank you for your fancy Googling skills. We do appreciate it. Now, back in October, we spoke with Kris Nilsen, who works at as the Upper School Academic College and Career Advisor at SCVi. It was college application season when she came in. Well, now let's see how it went. And you know, we'll also ask how she works with her students in every grade to gear up for college. Kris grew up in the San Fernando Valley, just here south of our Fair Valley, and she graduated from Cal State Northridge with a BA in sociology, criminology, and corrections. Yeah, she had no idea that a college and career counseling position was in her future. She later did go back to CSUN and get her MA in education with an administrative credential. She also attended Cal State Long Beach, where she graduated with an MA in social work and a PPS credential. So she is a lifelong learner. So proud of Kris and all the work that she does. She has worked for the Department of Child and Family Services as a family reunification caseworker for 2 years, and also worked for Pinecrest Schools. Remember Pinecrest? Kris worked for Pinecrest for 18 years before they closed their doors, and that misfortune was our blessing because in 2016, Kris moved over to iLead Schools here at SCVi on the west side of the valley. Kris now lives in Simi Valley with her husband of more than 25 years and their 2 daughters. She has found her passion as a high school counselor and enjoys visiting college campuses across the United States. She is currently finishing her college counseling certificate from UCLA. Kris, it's good to have you back. I say you're currently finishing. Have you finished that up yet, or are you still working on it?
Oh, no. Thank you for the introduction, Matt. It's a pleasure to be here. No, I actually did finish that about 1.5 years ago. Amazing program. Definitely helped me out starting as a college counselor. The classes were great. I learned a lot, and I was able to apply that knowledge working with our SCVi learners.
It's, something that you were called on to step up and fill that role at SCVi, and you did so beautifully. I remember your first days there at SCVi, and I watched you take on the task and just dive headfirst into it. Even like you said, going back and getting your college counseling certificate. That's amazing how hard you work to make sure that our kids are getting the most out of how hard they work. It's such an amazing thing that you do. Talk to us a little bit about that work that you do. What is it that your job is? Because I know you don't just sit behind your desk and when kids come in and say, I want to go to UCLA, you hand them an application and your job's done, right? You've got a lot more to do than that.
That's so true. And actually, we just went back hybrid on Monday. And so for this past year, like everyone else with the pandemic, I haven't had that blessing of kids coming into my office and grabbing, some stress lotion to talk about stuff. We've had to do it virtually. But yes, I am also the academic, and I'm an IB counselor as well. So I'm kind of in their lives and every aspect of them at high school. And so when they come in, my goal and my passion is to provide that private college counseling experience to our kids for free. That is my job. So in all the different, I definitely am a lifelong learner, and I love college, and I want kids to have the best option. that they have in senior year. So we talk about, what their passions are, who they want to be, not so much what do you want to study in college, because I think college is such an adventure, an opportunity to do so many things and find out about yourself. So we start with how do they see themselves at college, or how do they see themselves after graduation, honestly. Yes, I'm the college counselor, and I think everyone should have that privilege of being able to attend college. And we look at financials, we look at acceptance rates, and we build a list that's going to fit each and every senior, so that they can see themselves at that school. So they come in, I work with them all 4 years in regards to different aspects of the college search process. And in the end, hopefully they have a lot of choices to make, and they can make that best choice for them.
It's interesting that you say that you try to provide that private level counseling to all of our kids at our public charter school. If you're listening to us and don't realize that a charter school is a public school, you need to know that. SCVi is a completely tuition-free public school with pretty much, I don't want to say no boundaries, because legally there are some, but they are so much wider than your local public school. If you can hear my voice, your kids can attend SCVi. Kris, I remember you were probably in your second or third year on the job with us at SCVi, and my brother we just had him on the show recently. He was working with a private counselor for his son and paying quite a bit of money, but he was telling me about all the amazing services that this guy was providing to my nephew. And it kind of made me chuckle, because everything that he would tell me that they were doing, I would nod and say, yeah, that's what Kris is doing for all of our kids at SCVi. It really was amazing. You touched on it a little bit, and I know how inviting your office is with the stress lotion, and you've always got a bowl of chocolates out, and it's a great place to just go hang out. But your kids can't come hang out with you to your office. At least they haven't been able to for the last year or so. What's it been like? Has it been tough doing what you do without actually being able to get together with kids and families? Or are your families loving Zoom and everything's going great?
Yeah, it's definitely been a challenge. I think the best thing going throughout the pandemic is I actually got to move my office after 5 years. So our athletic director used to have, so it's a bigger office. I now have a table and chairs in there. I used to have kids kind of flood in. I think it was kind of the cool hangout, which I love. And now there's a lot more space for that. Zooming has been a little bit difficult. I think the one-on-one of me not being interrupted on a constant basis while I'm meeting with learners is definitely a plus. But, kids are Zooming a lot during the day. Having to then go Zoom in the afternoon is a little bit tough. But the college world has been amazing in regards to the resources and college fairs and opportunities that they've provided, that I think is a lot better than what it's been before pre-pandemic. And I just love it. I'm reaching out. It's been a little bit more challenging for me. So being back on campus on Monday to actually see kids in person and have them be able to come in and have that 6 feet of distance in my office this week was awesome.
So that is great. You stole the athletic director's office. I love that. Take that, NCAA.
I did.
And so you mentioned our kids came back on campus on Monday. I know a lot of the local schools are returning to campus. So your high schoolers are back now as of this week?
Yes. So we have hybrid, and we have total about 80 kids that decided that they wanted to come back, and the rest decided to stay distant since they've kind of been used to that all year long. So we split them. So it's about 40 on Monday, Wednesday, and 40 on Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay, terrific. And then is there any word when you guys are going to be back on campus full time?
Well, we've kind of heard, I think our TK through 8th actually is looking at April 19th to be on campus 5 days a week. High school, of course, the kids being older, maybe a little bit more of the super spreaders comparatively, maybe the end of April. I think what the challenge that we're thinking about is, there's a lot of adjustment. We are a small school, which is great, kind of small facilities. And so with only 6 weeks left of school, it would kind of be a big transition. But I have to say, we are here for the kids. We are here for the kids and family. We know how difficult things have been. We know some of our learners have actually thrived being distance learning. And so what's nice is we have some kids that are back that want to be, and some kids that are remaining distant. So it's kind of blended.
Yeah, and it's interesting. From time to time we have our learners from SCVi come on the show, and I always ask them how distance learning's been. And it has been a mixed bag. Some of them have said, I just can't wait to get back on campus. But I was really surprised. I've heard several of your learners say, Matt, I got to tell you, I miss my friends, but I'm loving it. I'm loving the schedule. I'm loving being online. I'm loving the autonomy of the asynchronous work. And so, yeah, you're right. It does seem to have been a mixed bag. Now, this is an important time for high school seniors, right? They've, for the most part, now it's spring. They've done all their work. They've gotten their A's and B's, and they've gotten all their extracurriculars in, and now it's time to just kind of relax and wait for those acceptances to come in. Although a lot of them aren't relaxing until that mail comes in, right? It can be a stressful time. So what are some of the colleges that you're hearing back from? What are some of, let's start with kind of the big name schools, the schools that our listeners would know and recognize. Do you have a list of some of the schools that your kids are getting into?
I do. We actually have about 104 colleges that the kids have gotten into. For example, Cal State Pomona, we have Chapman, USC, UC Santa Barbara, Arizona State, Baldwin Wallace, Grand Canyon University, Gonzaga University.
Oh, wow.
A lot of those basketball ones, Loyola Marymount, which is very popular, Pace. We have awesome Ripon College, which is in Wisconsin for theater. Actually, Harrison Ford graduated from that college. We have some state, University of Colorado, Denver. We've got University of Oklahoma, which is interesting, Western Washington. Woodbury, which is local in Burbank, fantastic school. Purdue, Pepperdine, Penn State. So we've got a lot of great schools out there. And what I love is a lot of those are out of the state of California. So our kids are trekking across the country.
Yeah, as you mentioned before, college is a very important way to prepare for your career, and academics are so important. But that college experience is so much more than that. And Kris, I know you happen to be a fan of the smaller kind of independent liberal arts schools, and you encourage your kids to look at some of the schools that maybe they haven't even previously heard of. And that's one of the special things about the service that you give your families. You spend a lot of time getting to know your learners and the families so that you can recommend schools that maybe they wouldn't look at on their own. Why do you encourage kids towards those smaller schools sometimes?
Yes, actually, the College That Changes Lives are about 44 colleges across the country that provide kind of what SCVi does. It's not just about that degree. It's not just about, getting out and getting a job. It's also about the growth of each and every person, becoming a human being. And so these colleges are small. A lot of our kids know our public schools, and they try to get, they're a little selective to get into. That's the tough thing. This year has been very interesting in regards to the college world, and pretty much every college was test optional, meaning kids did not have to submit an SAT or ACT score in order to apply. So a lot of the Ivy Leagues, which to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of in regards to the academic, what they provide kids on a long-term basis. But they had a 40% increase because people were like, I'm going to see if I can get into Harvard because I don't have to take the SAT. So I think my goal is, and actually this last year, my daughter graduated from high school, my younger daughter. And so I was in the process with her, which I could share with my families that were going through it last year and this year. And she was at a public school in Simi. She went to Royal High School, and she did not get any kind of guidance or help really from her high school counselor, which I find in those bigger traditional schools that there's just too many kids and they can't give that personal attention. So I wish back in the day, I probably don't want to date myself, but I had someone that could say, because I had to apply to a UC school. And if I would have known about all these other colleges that not only provide that personal family type attention, you can have dinner at your professor's house. The professors are experts in their field, so you're not getting taught by a grad student. And so those are very valuable things that I think, especially SCVi being a smaller school, kind of a small liberal arts college, I think those small liberal arts colleges are the ticket for any kid.
And I know a lot of our kids have come back and thank you for it, saying, I found my home, I found my tribe, I found my family. And they feel right at home in that smaller environment. And you're right, at some of these smaller schools, kids do get that really special attention, very similar to the way you and the rest of the team at SCVi give our high schoolers and our lower school kids as well. So what are some of the schools that maybe our listeners haven't heard of, but you're really proud of that our students have gotten into this year?
Well, actually, one of the ones I forgot to mention was Syracuse, and that's a big school over in New York.
Yeah.
They have very good programs, not an easy school to get into. Sonoma State. So as much as, the UCs and the Cal States, UCLA, Cal Berkeley, some of those schools, they're not easy to get into.
Mm-hmm.
So the University of California, Santa Barbara, we've had a couple learners, and that's a hard feat. And so that's very impressive that they have gotten into those. Sonoma State, Channel Islands, some of these schools, they are state schools, but they're small and they don't have a lot of students attending, under 10,000. So I definitely love those schools. And looking at a lot of them, Marymount Manhattan is another one, Lycoming, which is in Pennsylvania. We've got Ithaca, which is in New York, Hofstra, one of my favorite schools in Long Island. These are all smaller liberal arts colleges, and I think in that application process, what I want the kids to remember is it is so nice to be applying to a school that really wants you to be there versus fighting, off of a waiting list of a school that, maybe will take you, but they have to see how the application pool is. That is kind of that ticket, and if we get away from the big name colleges just for the name's sake, I think the kids can find an awesome experience. And, going through that process, in the end, you're going to look at finances. You're going to look at what's the best fit. And there's some great schools in California that are small liberal arts. Whittier, University of Redlands is a great school about an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
We've got University of the Pacific up north. We got Cal Lutheran that's right here. Amazing schools that provide that kind of experience that I think every kid should have.
Yeah, and you mentioned finances. It's something that parents really start to rub their eyebrows a little bit as they start to look at paying for colleges, and I know the cost is going up. I'm looking at this list of the schools that your learners have gotten into, Kris, and next to about half the names is a parentheses. And in those parentheses are things like Global Citizenship Scholarship, President's Scholarship, let's see, $20,000 a year scholarship, $29,000 scholarship, $25,000 a year scholarship, another presidential scholarship, $39,000. A lot of your kids are getting scholarships. And I see two of these, when folks know our school at SCVi, they know us as an art school, which they should. Our kids are pumping out award-winning art in theater, visual arts, performing arts, filmmaking. But Kris, we've got a learner going to a Division I school on a full basketball scholarship. We've got two kids on Division I full basketball scholarships. We got some athletes out there too, don't we?
We do, and actually we had the pleasure this year of working with the Southern California Academy program, and Coach Julius has brought kids to his program, and they are attending SCVi. And actually we have 3 kids right now, let's see, that are D1, maybe actually 4 kids, and it's amazing. And yes, they came to us from high school, some of them in their senior year, but it's, there's a lot they have to do. There's a certain amount of classes they have to take. They have to be NCAA eligible.
Yep.
And it has been such a joy, to have them at our school. It's been great.
That is fantastic, and congratulations. You're right. I just didn't scroll low enough. You've got 4 kids on Division I basketball scholarships. That is great. We're talking with SCVi's Upper School Academic, College, and Career Advisor, Kris Nilsen. When we get back, we're going to ask her what you, as a parent, should be doing at any grade level to help your child get into college. You're listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
KHTS strives to give the Santa Clarita Valley all the information they need. And when our computers aren't working the way they should, we call Resurgence, your true source for IT. Resurgence provides outstanding customer service while also providing the highest technical ability. They strive to do what's best to improve and protect your business. For more information on Resurgence, call 349-4114 or visit resurgenceit.com.
Are you looking for educational flexibility and choice? Look no further than your front door. iLead Exploration's independent study program is passionate about personalized learning. Our mission is to inspire learners to become creative problem solvers, compassionate leaders, conscientious collaborators, and responsible citizens who develop a lifelong love of learning. Our families partner with a credentialed teacher to customize each child's educational path. Families access community partners to choose a variety of in-person, online, and at-home options to create an optimal learning environment for each learner. Our program also values community, and through a variety of field studies, service projects, park days, and family gatherings, we provide many opportunities to foster friendships. Because there are currently in-person limitations due to COVID, we are offering activities online through webinars and virtual field trips. iLead Exploration is a tuition-free, independent study charter school program serving grades TK through 12 in Los Angeles, Orange, Kern, San Bernardino, and Ventura counties. To learn more about our program, visit iLeadExploration.org. iLead Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
Stone Oven, the healthy alternative. You've never tasted a sandwich like this before. Gourmet bread cooked before your eyes. Stone Oven at the food court at Valencia Town Center.
Save at the best Santa Clarita restaurants. Restaurant Row, where everything is half price. Click on hometownstation.com and discover incredible savings. Online or at our radio station, everyone saves with Restaurant Row. Check it out at hometownstation.com. Restaurant Row, where everything is half price.
Excellence isn't just a word, it is what we deliver. Vanguard Protection Group is committed to providing its clients with the highest echelon of protective services available. Our clients not only receive the security services they contract for, but also reports that are well-written, articulate, and thorough. Our patrol officers operate at the highest levels and have an impressive rapport with local law enforcement. With military, police, private policing, and courtroom experience, you can trust that we have the strength to deliver our promise of excellence. Contact Vanguard Protection by calling 661-753-3611 or visiting their website at vanguardprotectiongroup.com.
The shows must go on. The Main in Santa Clarita is your destination for free online music, theater, art, and entertainment opportunities. Tune into fun variety nights, join a talent show, learn from filmmaking experts, attend a modern play, and more from the comfort of your home. For more information and to view upcoming events, go to facebook.com/themain.newhall or at themain.org. Enjoy the shows.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley, and I am your host, Matt Watson. We're talking this morning with Kris Nilsen, SCVi's Upper School Academic College and Career Advisor. And it's so funny, you know, even during the commercial break, Kris and I were geeking out about college acceptances and where it's best to apply and where it's becoming more difficult to apply. And it just makes me laugh because the work that we do, the things that we do with our kids is just so exciting. We get pumped up about our work. Kris, I love my job. I know you love yours as well. And, you know, if you're looking to get into education or you are an educator, head on over to ileadschools.org and take a look at joining the team because it's just an amazing place to work. Kris, up until now, you've been kind of selfish, okay? Sorry to call you out, but, you know, you've been all about you and your learners and their accolades and where they're getting in and the scholarships that they're getting. But I promised our listeners that we'd give them some advice and some guidance too. So is that okay if we can share the love a little bit with the rest of the community?
I guess so, sure.
All right. Now, I know that things are shifting, and we talked about it quite a bit while we were on the commercial break, especially with this pandemic. So what do colleges look at? Because I know a lot of schools are waiving the SAT. The SAT is not required in a lot of places now. So what are they looking at? What is most important? Because I remember when I was in high school, there were guys that were on the football team that hated football, but they knew it would look good on a college application. There were guys that were in student government that hated student government, but it looked good on a college application. What is it that our kids should be focusing on in order to get into college if that's their goal?
That's a great question, Matt. And I think what most families and kids think about is GPA and test scores. Mm-hmm. But colleges really want to know what kids are passionate about. They do not want kids to, for example, join the football team and join student government if it's not their passion. I actually just met with a 10th grade learner the other day, and kind of the same thing. What do I need to do in order to, get into a good college? And I said, well, there's a lot of great colleges out there. And he mentioned that he plays the drums and is passionate about the drums. And I'm like, exactly. Stay with that passion, play those drums, because a lot of times when you're filling out an application, it's good to write about things that might be uncommon. And I'm referring to the college essay guy, Ethan Sawyer. He's an amazing resource that I give to all kids that everyone could utilize. He is a college essay expert, and a lot of his resources, he talks about that. Those essays that kids write for those applications should focus more on values and more on principles and things that the kids are thinking about. And even with the pandemic, that was a big thing. Should I talk about the pandemic? Well, everyone could probably write about the pandemic, but what if you picked up something during that time, during that year, that you never did before? Like my daughter, took up the ukulele and, got interested in that because there was more time to be able to do that because everyone was kind of virtual. So when I counsel kids, and I think my advice to families is definitely, academics are there. So I talk to kids about, getting a C or better. That's going to make it easy for you to get into pretty much any college. And focusing, for example, in 9th grade, that transition to college is tough from middle school. Things are different. You
transition from middle school to high school, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that in 9th grade, it's kind of overwhelming, for most of the kids to think about college. Some of them have no idea what they want to do or where they want to go. So focusing on, your academics, your classes, making sure, what are the strengths that you have? What are some of those challenges that you want to work through before getting into those grades, like 10th and 11th grade, where colleges really focus on the transcript. So it's every year there's things that kids can do, that families can do, and a lot of that is just finding your passion, taking classes that might be challenging or maybe of interest to you, and kind of broadening that horizon.
So it's an important thing to know, find your passion, and basically, rather than doing things that you're not interested in to bolster your resume, figure out who you are and just exemplify yourself and chase that. You mentioned that there's stuff that families and kids should be doing each year. So can we break it down kind of year by year as to kind of chart the course for families as what they should be doing each year? Does that sound good, Kris?
Sure.
All right.
That sounds great.
You want to start with senior year and work backwards, or do you want to start with freshman year and work towards senior year?
I will start with freshman year because I know that, sometimes they feel a little forgotten because of that process of college is primarily 11th and 12th grade. But in 9th grade, again, it's getting that assimilation to high school, getting comfortable, kind of focusing on those academics. That's kind of the primary thing is making sure kids feel supported, that they get those study skills, they work on those executive functioning skills of how to organize. That's really important coming into high school. And then in 10th grade, the focus is more on strengths and interests. And so this year I started using SCORE, which is a college search and career planning platform. And they have an assessment in there called Use Science. And because it's new, I've already had our seniors and our juniors taking this assessment, which awesomely, it is brain games. So all the kids are doing is filling out brain games, and at the end, they will be provided with information about their talents, their interests, their strengths. And for those kids that don't know what they want to do, finding out what they're good at helps jumpstart that process of looking at what do I want to do after high school. So 10th grade, we focus more on looking at those type of assessments, what their strengths are, getting them into SCORE and talking more about their profile, and starting to add things that they're doing in high school, to be part of that college application. And then in junior year, I really sit down with each kid individually and we create that list. We research colleges. I have them attending college fairs and virtual college fairs and information. And I provide all of that information in that college going process. Spring is really that time where kids start to think about it. So in that whole spring semester of junior year, possibly testing, as we said, some kids do want to take that SAT, so I am offering that in April on campus.
Okay.
And then getting that list together of what they could research, because there's a lot of colleges out there. So my job, when they do take some assessments, it'll give them a list of colleges, but there's tons. And as a high school kid, I would be completely overwhelmed, not knowing which school is good. So I do have that knowledge of schools around the United States that I think would fit our kids and that would be good, awesome colleges to attend. And then coming into senior year is when those applications start getting filled out. So starting in maybe September, end of August, we start making those applications. I start working with the kids. And October 1st comes, and I want them all to fill out that FAFSA, which is the free application for student aid, so that they can see what kind of money they can get to help them pay for college.
Yeah, that is so important. So I want to kind of recap and break it down. So ninth grade, get acclimated, get good at school. That's going to help you do well in high school. It's going to help you do well in college. So ninth grade, get acclimated, get good at school. 10th grade, work hard in class, figure out who you are and where you might like to go. As a junior, that's when you really do your research, create your list of colleges, start testing, make sure you shore up your GPA. And then senior year, it's easy. You fill out the college application and fill out your FAFSA application, and then you hang out until April or May when those acceptances start coming in. Is that about right?
Yeah, and I wish it sounded that easy in senior year. Yeah, I have to say, because, yes, that's exactly what happens. But I think what's amazing is, there's a lot of paths after high school, and of course I realize that. And four-year college right out of high school maybe isn't for everyone at that point. But what these kids have to do, maintaining their grades, maintaining their lifestyle throughout senior year, and then also applying to those colleges, that's a lot of work. And I am so proud of the work that our kids have done in applying to these schools and really taking that risk to kind of venture out. Because in the end, you can make that decision whether you want to go out of state, do you want to stay close to home. That's going to be your decision. And I love when the kids have those options, and the work that they've put in is very impressive.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you are so good, Kris. You and the rest of the team at SCVi are so proactive about getting every one of your kids, and it impresses me so much. You get every one of your kids every year into your office and make sure that they're staying on track and that they know what they're supposed to be doing. But it's, as you mentioned, at some of the larger high schools that some of our listeners and their kids are going to, there's so many kids it can be overwhelming. I myself, I didn't meet my college guidance counselor until I was a senior already. And at that point, I remember I walked in the door with my best friend. We both said, hey, let's go to college. And so we walked into the counselor's office early senior year, and the counselor kind of set me up with, well, Watson, this is what your grades are looking like. So you're looking at these. And he offered me about half a dozen colleges that I might go to. And he looked at my best friend and said, you're kind of out of options at this point. And that was the first time either one of us had met him. So kids have to be proactive, right? You gotta, your 9th grade year, 10th grade year, push yourself into your counselor's office. Let them know who you are, what you're looking for. And if you don't know, let them know that. Go into your college counselor's office and say, hi, I'm in 10th grade. I want to go to college, but I have no idea how to get there. I have no idea where I want to go. Put yourself on their radar. You've got to advocate for yourself sometimes, right?
Definitely. And actually, the cool thing about SCVi and why I love to work here, work there, and commute all the way from CNE is that I will pretty much do that for them. In a public school that's big, they definitely have to advocate for themselves. But what I do is, especially that junior semester, I meet with every junior. So I require them to come in and meet with me, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about college, but it's to kind of start thinking, how's your transcript? Does everything look right? Definitely kind of bringing them in. I feel so blessed with the small amount of kids that we have that I'm able to do that. I'm able to provide that counseling. I think the hard thing about a public high school is there's so many kids that when they apply to those private colleges, which a lot of those small liberal arts colleges are, they have to write recommendations as a counselor. So I had to write, maybe 30 recommendations for kids, and I felt so comfortable because I know them and I know about them. And so, yes, in a bigger school, kids have to kind of have to advocate for themselves and get in there and fill out maybe kind of a brag sheet just so that counselor may be able to write a recommendation. And I think maybe kids are kind of pushed more in that direction of public colleges because they don't have to write those recommendations. And so I just feel it was my goal and my passion to be able to provide that to kids to be able to apply anywhere.
And it is, like I said, such an amazing service that you provide that a lot of families that are that interested pay top dollar to get that kind of service, where at SCVi, our kids are getting that at the local public school. It is great. Now, I have heard that high school kids can actually take college classes while they're still in high school. I think it's through the local community colleges like COC. Is that something that's available to learners at SCVi, that they can enroll in college classes while they're still in high school? And why would that be important or beneficial?
Sure. Yes, that's definitely true. Any learner that takes a college class in high school, the college class is free. I think there's maybe a small health fee that they have to pay. For a lot of kids, it's just getting that experience with college. There's a lot of community colleges, in the LA area. And about this year being virtual, it was kind of great because kids could take them anywhere without having to travel all the way to the Valley to go to Pierce College, for example, or to CNE or Moorpark College.
Or be intimidated about walking around on campus with college kids.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, that's
exactly.
cool.
And so a lot of the kids. So what's interesting is you can have dual enrollment. So for kids who might be thinking of community college after high school, they can take, for example, a U.S. history class that would qualify them at the college level, but also count in high school. I think the most popular class right now, and kids, I started talking about them in ninth grade about this. 2 years of foreign language in the same language is required to apply to college. It is a graduation requirement at SCVi. But if you take a semester of a foreign language, a lot of our kids take sign language at a community college for a semester. It counts as your 2 years of required foreign language credit in high school.
One semester will count for 2 years of credit?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so kids will take a semester of sign language, and that will count as their 2 years. And so they're excited because we do, we front load the kids kind of in ninth and 10th grade, and it's pretty full schedule. So some of them kind of wait. COC, you have to be going into 11th grade to attend COC. Other colleges in the area, you can start in ninth grade.
Okay.
I fill out a form to basically, give permission that the kids can take these classes, and it's becoming more and more prevalent for the kids to do this, and it's our college and career readiness indicator on our dashboard for the state of California. We want these kids to be college and career ready, and community college classes are a great way to tackle that.
Yeah, and it's also, a lot of kids at 16, 17 years old, when you start talking to them, they'll say, I'm not sure if college is for me. What a great way to try it and find out, right? Before you even graduate from high school. That's a great idea.
Yes.
So, Kris, is there any other advice that we haven't touched on that you might give to families? Is there any last thing that you would encourage families to do if they're looking at college for their kids?
I do. I think as a parent, it's really important to be supportive, and we have to remember that this is the kid's choice. It's going to be their future, kind of their life. And I think sometimes as parents, including myself, we kind of push some of our ideas about what college is and where they should go. And I think it's important to realize that this is their journey. I had my journey, and working with both my daughters with college application, I find it very important to support, being realistic and just kind of going through that process with them and making it a fun process.
Sounds like you're reading my mail. That's some of the hard conversations that we've had at my house with my son. It is really interesting. All right, Kris, one last thing. Final Four starts tomorrow, and I know you're a Duke fan, and Coach K and his guys didn't get into the tournament this year. So with the Final Four of UCLA versus Gonzaga and Baylor versus Houston, who's your lock to win it all? Who have you got in the Final Four, Kris?
Well, I had Kansas, unfortunately. They didn't make it. So I would say Gonzaga seems to be the favorite, but I'm going to root for UCLA.
Yeah, go Bruins. There we go.
Go Bruins.
All right, Kris. It is always nice to talk with you. Thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate your time. We appreciate everything that you're doing for our kids out there at SCVi.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. You have a great weekend, Kris.
Thank you, too.
You stick around. This is SCVi and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm your host, Matt Watson. We will be right back on your hometown station, KHTS.
Save water and save money. SCV Water wants to help you find your fit and take advantage of conservation rebate programs that will help you save. Water your landscape more efficiently. Replace your lawn with water-wise plants. Conduct free in-home water surveys. Cover your swimming pool and more. Find the programs that fit your needs and start saving today. Visit conserve.yourscvwater.com to learn more.
That's conserve.yourscvwater.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow, here to tell you about my Giza Dream bed sheets. I made sure that they would be everything you'd ever want in a sheet set. I started with the world's finest cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region where the Sahara Desert, the Nile River, and the Mediterranean Sea all meet. The long staple cotton makes my Giza Dream sheets ultra soft and durable. They come with extra wide pillowcases to fit over any pillow and extra deep pockets to fit over any mattress. Not only that, they come with my 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. And now you can get the best sheets ever for the best price ever. When you buy one of my Giza Dream bed sheet sets, you'll get another one absolutely free. I personally guarantee that they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code KHTS or call 800-973-3927 and use the promo code KHTS. That's 800-973-3927 or go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code KHTS.
Who says nothing good happens after midnight? Denny's is best known for their breakfast served round the clock like the Grand Slam. But you can enjoy breakfast, lunch, or dinner in a casual atmosphere 24/7. At Denny's, the lunch and dinner menu has a variety of appetizers, craveable burgers, salads, and entrees, along with the best desserts in town. Wherever you live in Santa Clarita, there's a Denny's close by. If you're pulling an all-nighter or don't feel like cooking, get into Denny's today. Good stuff is happening at Denny's.
Welcome to Dunkin', where safety is their #1 priority. The staff at Dunkin' has daily temperature checks and goes through a series of current health questions prior to each shift. They have all the necessary PPE, including masks, shields, and gloves. In addition, every store is sanitized several times an hour for your protection. Use the Dunkin' app for specials and to order ahead. Carry-out and curbside pickup is available, or have your order delivered by Grubhub, Postmates, Uber Eats, or DoorDash. Dunkin', all-day sandwiches, donuts, bagels, muffins, and of course, hot and cold beverages. Visit Dunkin' on Bouquet, next to Lowe's, or the Dunkin' in Canyon Country on Sierra Highway. The Santa Clarita Valley runs on Dunkin'.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi, and I lead School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. It is so good to have you. We have had such an amazing show. Really enjoyed this show. It seemed to fly by. You know, we started off in the first hour, we talked to Kelvin Driscoll. Kelvin is just such a great guy, and he has dedicated his career to working to better our community. He currently works with the L.A County. He's I believe he said that he got a promotion. I believe he's the top deputy for one of the supervisors. I really should have taken notes on that. But Kelvin works with the supervisors, making sure that our children and our adults in our community have access to all of the services that they need in order to stay healthy and sheltered. We talked a lot about homelessness this morning, and how homelessness is on the rise. The rate of people living literally on the streets unsheltered in LA is off the charts. We listed, I think, about 15, 16 large cities in the United States, and LA has more unsheltered people than all 15, 16 of those cities combined. And we're talking cities like Detroit, Chicago, Boston, Dallas. You know, it's just incredible. And Kelvin and his team are working hard to make sure that that everybody gets what they need. He encouraged us to get involved in local policy, you know, contacting our representatives, even running for office, doing what we can do to get involved, but also volunteering for local efforts like Bridge to Home and other organizations that are serving those that are most at risk in our community. You know, it really is important. We live in a great town. We live in an amazing community, and one of the things that I have always been so proud of living here in Santa Clarita is how much we give back. I say we, I mean you guys, how much you guys give back to the community, how well we take care of each other. And And so if you and your family are looking to reach out, Bridge to Home is a great place to reach out and work locally to help those folks that are really struggling to get by. And, Kelvin, what a great guy. We had a lot of laughs. I think we kind of took him by surprise a little bit. We invited Kelvin to stick around for trivia with Big T, and then, boy, Patty, did you just blindside him with calling out your answers before questions were even asked and things like that? But he held his own, and you and Kelvin beat me. Had a lot of fun playing trivia with Big T this morning. And then we just spoke with Kris Nilsen from SCVi. And Kris is doing some amazing stuff with the learners at SCVi. She is the college and career counselor at SCVi. And it's funny, she was talking about the services that she gives our students. And I mentioned how my brother, Big T, he went out and hired a college counselor for actually both my nephew and my niece. And I hesitated to mention it. Big T texted me the dollar amount that he spent on the same type of services that our kids are getting for free at SCVi. And I mentioned for free, yes. Students at SCVi get access to Kris and all this amazing college guidance that starts in 9th grade, and she really carries them all the way through and makes sure that every kid gets guided in the right direction and knows who they are and where they're going after high school. But that's just one component of what our kids at SCVi get, and we do it all, like I said, for free. We are a free public school. Oftentimes people ask, Matt, are you a public school or a charter school? It's important to remember that charter schools are public schools, but you don't have to worry about the boundaries. Can I go to your school? Well, if it's a charter school, the answer is almost always yes, you can. I talk about our borders. If you live in L.A. County or an adjacent county, so we've got families that come from Ventura County, Piru, Fillmore, those areas there. It's actually not that far of a drive for them. But yeah, we're open to anyone here in the Valley. So check out ileadsantaclarita.org for more information. ileadsantaclarita.org is the website for SCVi, or you can go to ileadschools.org and check out any one of our half a dozen schools here in Southern California. We've got so many schools because, well, we're in a couple of different neighborhoods. We're in the Lancaster area, Agua Dulce, here in Santa Clarita, but we also have virtual schools in home schools, online schools. And so just go ahead and check us out at ileadschools.org for more information. I want to thank you for joining us today. That is all the time that we have. I want to thank our guests, Kelvin Driscoll with the L.A County Department of Public Social Services and the supervisors there in L.A. County. Again, thanks to Kris Nilsen for everything that she does out at SCVi Charter School. Thank you to Big T for bringing lots of fun with us, and Engineer Patty for playing along, Producer Sarah for all the hard work that she does. I want to invite you to join us again next week and every Friday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Eye on the Valley. I am your host, and this is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station. Go Bruins! KHTS.